Hi girls and gays, and welcome to your free literary analysis guide. In this video, I'll be walking you through how to write a literary and cultural analysis while providing a real-world example. Ready? Too late, we're fucking going. The book I'll be providing as an example is Upside Down and Rented because I'm in college. It is Their Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. The story is about a young black woman named Jeannie living in the 1920s Jim Crow, Florida. It explores her 3 marriages and the way she uses them to learn about love and her autonomy and grow as a person. It follows her from the time she's about 16 to about 40, 45. So, as you can imagine, it's got a lot of different things to say. Now, before we can even attempt to start to analyze, we're going to need a couple things. First, glasses. This is for 2 reasons. 1, if you need glasses to read. And 2, if you can somehow read without the help of glasses or contacts or other things that enhance your eyesight because you're somehow born with perfect vision, then you're still going to need them because you can't properly read anything for filth without glasses. The library is open for business, bitch. Step 2. Read your book, both literally reading it and reading it for filth. Mark down anything that seems important, such as symbolism, metaphors, allusions to the Bible or to history or to other literature or mythology, changes in writing style, changes in a character or a character arc, sudden things that feel like out of place, anything that just stands out to you, anything you think might have a little bit of a deeper meaning, or even anything that you think follows a particular theme. Mark it down, so that way you can look back and find it. I personally also like to go through and write down any quotes I think will be helpful in a literary analysis. That way I can just go back and I have my evidence right there. After you finish your novel, you should narrow it down to 1, maybe 2 things you'd like to talk about. The reason for this is you really need to make sure that what you're saying is short, what you're saying is specific, what you're saying can be argued, and what you're saying is not some vague philosophical bullshit. The scene I've chosen to analyze is in chapter 19. At this point, Jamie has moved on to her 3rd marriage with Tea Cake, the love of her life, but he gets rabies and he tries to kill her, so she has to kill him. Of course, people find out, and the scene I'm analyzing is her trial scene. You have to understand that Tea Cake is her 3rd husband. She's had 2 before, and they're both dicks. And Tea Cake is the nicest guy she's been with before. Sure, he's got some problems, but she's so crazy in love that she don't even care. I said don't even care, and I'm not going to change it. And because of this, she has also learned how to talk to men who put her down, and how to express herself, how to have her own autonomy, how to leave when she needs to or when she wants to. The fact that she does none of this proves that she cares for Tea Cake a lot. So, of course, she wanted to kill him maliciously. And she doesn't just need to prove that. We have to use her character arc to understand this scene. Now, when writing a literary analysis, always make sure the audience understands the context of the novel, but do not summarize the entire novel. Just talk about the scene that you're looking at, but don't even summarize that. Just point out the important bits. Quote a couple things, note differences in syntax or character arcs, compare to other things, whatever. Just don't be insane. In the trial, Jamie is all alone. The jury is white, the judge is white, the lawyers are white, and her black friends are siding against her because they just like Tea Cake better than her. So she's virtually alone. The only person she really has to stand up for herself, besides the doctor who diagnosed Tea Cake with rabies, is herself. And this is what happens when she's given the opportunity. On page 188 and 189. After a few little questions, he told her to tell just how it happened and to speak the truth. First thing she had to remember was that she was not at home. She was in the courthouse fighting something, and it wasn't death. It was worse than that. It was lying thoughts. She tried to make them see how terrible it was that things would fix so fast that Tea Cake couldn't come back to himself until he had got rid of that mad dog that was in him, and he couldn't get rid of the dog and live. He had to die to get rid of the dog. But she hadn't wanted to kill him. A man is up against a hard game when he must die to beat it. She made them see how she wouldn't ever want to be rid of him. She didn't plead to anybody. She just sat there and told, and when she was through, she hushed. She had been through for some time before the judge and the lawyer and the rest seemed to know it, but she sat in the trial chair until the lawyer told her she could come down. What stands out here? Think about the context I've given before. Think about how Janie can speak her mind freely. Think about how Tea Cake is arguably the only husband she's ever loved. Think about the badass moment she had when she was literally telling off her second husband as he was dying of kidney cancer and telling him how much of an asshole he was. At this point, there's nothing holding her back. She's proven herself. She can do it again. But 2 points in the text seem to contradict that. The first is that she's given no dialogue. We know what she says, but she's not given any dialogue to freely express that. This is such a dramatic change when we've seen her give these speeches before, especially to her second husband, Jody. So what's changed? Why doesn't she say anything? Why doesn't she say anything more to defend herself? You gotta ask questions in your own analysis, because you gotta answer them. Sometimes there are questions that you can't find the answers to, but sometimes you find answers for questions you just didn't think to ask. I'm philosophical as fuck. Second is that she stops talking altogether. I mean, no one even knows she's done talking. She just answers the question and then shuts up. And these 2 things are very important when you consider how the novel is about her finding her voice. Why is it suddenly gone at this pivotal moment? Well, because she's in a white man's courthouse. Her voice is taken from her. If she tried to use it, anything could happen. Anything she could say will be used against her. Even though Janie has learned to find her voice, she can only use it in her own community. In a community where she's got a relative amount of privilege. She's got money. She's got a job. She's lighter skinned. She can do what she wants. Hell, there are points where she's not married, but she's still so respected by her community. And this has changed because she's not in her community anymore. And her community has turned against her, goddammit. What can you say at that point? Even though this novel is about race a lot, it is also about gender, and that seems even more prevalent here. Obviously, there's a huge race factor coming into this courthouse, but the only people in this courthouse who are given actual dialogue lines are the men. Even the black men, who are of course told to shut up or they'll go to jail, but they're still given dialogue. None of the women are given dialogue, black or white. Even though this novel has been exploring gender before, this is the first time that gender and race truly intersect, because up until this point, they've lived in all black communities, and there have been mentions of racism and white people, but for the most part, they were lucky enough to not have to face it in their communities. It isn't until now that they truly have to face the differences, but not all of them can. Really, only the black women can understand it, and Janie's the only black woman there. Even the black men turn against her, thinking that because she's a black woman that she can get away with killing a black man. Of course, it would not be unreasonable to assume that she is granted innocence because she killed a black man and not a white man, but you also need to consider the fact that gender definitely plays a role in this when you look at how her previous friends immediately turn on her. Granted, they know Tea Cake better than they know her, but god damn, they still know her, don't they? But somehow they would still rather see a black woman go to jail. This is something important because this issue has not gone away, not even by a little bit. I mean, look at the problems with R. Kelly right now. He is, I have to say alleged for legal reasons, don't I? Whatever. He did horrible, awful things to black girls and black women. But people are willing to ignore that or even believe that he's not guilty because he's famous, because he's a man, because his victims are black women. And sure, there are still people who believe he's guilty, but how many of those people are so easy to believe that he's guilty because he's black? This intersectionality of race and gender, especially in the eyes of the law, is not something that has gone away just because segregation is gone. It is still crazy prevalent. And that's what's so great about this book, the fact that these issues are still relevant today, the fact that we can still learn from these problems. And that's something you need to take away from your analysis. The author will always be trying to say something with their work. Unless they're Edgar Allan Poe, in which case they don't give a fuck, but who cares? He's still saying something subconsciously. The point is, be aware of historical context and cultural context. Be aware of other literature when you're analyzing, because you can learn something just by reading a novel. So enjoy that. Stop complaining, even though literary analysis can be tedious, or you can hate them if you don't like to read, or you don't like to look too deep into things. You can learn a lot more from fiction than you can from giant-ass textbooks. But maybe that's just the opinion of an English scholar. I hope this video has been helpful in your endeavor to write a literary analysis. Thank you.